these players, they can conjure up tries from anywhere. Anything can happen. Having said that, there's no doubt the battle is going to be waged in the middle, in the trenches. It'll be physical, it'll be brutal, the collisions will be violent. We'll watch, we'll cringe at the cruelty, but it's compelling viewing. You won't be able to look away. I think this game will only play out one way. It's a simple law of the jungle. Only the strongest will survive.
Welcome to the NRL Supercoach War Room for the Magic Round. As you can tell tonight, it's only myself and the Gilchind in here. Unfortunately, we lost Obi over the weekend to a hamstring injury. It happened to the best of them. And J-Bone is currently in the bin for running through and hitting the leg of a kicker. So he might join us later, or it could have been a send-off for the whole game. But after a huge round on the weekend, obviously a lot of movement, a lot of up, a lot of down, a lot of sideways. Gil, I've got you here. I pulled you up off the canvas. How are you feeling?
Oh, mate, another shit week for me. It's not getting much better, but so I keep making it back each week. It just shows I have no life, really. So shout out to the War Room. Do anything for you.
Yeah, no, I see that you're tanking.
Yeah, I have to tank. Hopefully get the first draft pick next year. Hopefully change the format or something.
Yeah, I think that's I know I was speaking to Sangster recently. He said that's how they're going to do it. If you finish top 1,000, you can't pick any of the good players. So you'll be able to pick everyone going off your season at the moment because you are terrible.
I'm going good. So another
Tell me your
great
trades last week.
Mate, started off very, very strong. Armstrong. Boom. Was Armstrong in? Yep. Armstrong in. Yep. 60-odd. Didn't use him. Really good. Mate, a second row is if you listened last week, somebody could have given me warning. I fucking talked down Isaiah Papali'i. He said he's been struggling since Bateman's been 13. Should have read a team list because he was the 13 that week. 2 tries, 114, traded him out. Very good. And my other one was Ben Hunt. And I thought, fucking, you suckers last week brought in Cleary the week before for him to go down, yada, yada. I bring him in this week, whack the city on him, gets injured in the first half. So in a grand total, my trades brought me in 66 points for Cleary. Plus for Feeder, I did bring in for Papali, but he went less than Papali. So overall, about a 40-point extra. Used 3 trades too, so that was last boost. Really, really good week for me.
Wow. You pretty much couldn't have done any worse, and I like the captain there on Cleary. How'd your boy Benny Hunt go that left?
He got 57, I think, so
still better.
Still better, yeah, for sure. He got 26 last week, though, so it was like, oh, fuck. I held on to him, obviously, because Cleary didn't get named. Gets me 26. He gets traded the next week, yeah. So pretty much everything I've tried this year has gone wrong. So see what this week can produce.
I think that just shows you just never try and you'll never be disappointed.
Well, that's it, eh? Just don't look at the team list. I don't know what my technique is this year, to be honest. Can't just stack Warriors players like last year. Shirts.
I'd say you're like the Tavita Pango Jr. of the War Room. You know what I mean? You're like, this is getting too hard. I'm going to go back and do Super Coach. You had a couple of easy wins last year. This year, knocked out straight away, 60 seconds in, and now you're going, give me back in.
Yeah, I was going to change sports. I was actually going to play NRL fantasy, so I was doing the Tavita. I've had enough.
I think you should. Myself, as you can see down the bottom, I'm not young. I did not bring in Dom Young. Like many of the people out there, I thought, no, I'll make sure I go the pedigree of Jermaine Asako. He got me 49, which wasn't ideal. And I was on the way home. I did some commentary on the weekend for the BMD Premiership, and I'm on the way home listening to the radio. And I was in like the Legacy Way tunnel. I was considering pulling over just because all I could hear, I'm like, the radio's broken. Dom Young scores again. Dom Young sets us up. It's 22-0 after 14 minutes. I'm going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Before that as well, I was playing J-Bone in the Oberg Invitational. And he said earlier in the day, he's like, I'm going to chuck the C on Young. That's the only way I'm going to be able to beat you. And I said, I might chuck my C on Crichton because that's a bit safer than Drinky. I didn't do it. Crichton gets 114. Dom Young, I think, ended up on about 160. He was on 130 before halftime, so I actually took that as a win. Drinky came out, played pretty horribly. I actually turned that game off. I was watching it, and the Cowboys looked so bad after about 30 minutes. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. So turned it off. I still ended up getting a couple of wins, but in a week where everything went right for me on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday couldn't have gone worse. like I had Karaz who scores a late try. I had Katoe scores a try. David Mawali comes out and pumps out a 50. So I'm feeling good. And then Sunday just ruined me. And I'm over Supercoach, but me and
actually,
you are off to this week
I'll
for
have,
Magic
I
Round.
have to say my silver lining of the weekend was I did win my fucking high roller league, the $250 buy-in. Somehow someone went worse than me. So boom. Still hanging in there on that competition. So.
Yeah, I snuck in as well. So I won 2 of my cashies, but I'll need the good thing is I was looking, I'm like, oh shit, the season feels like it's over. And I'm sure there's like you and there's people out there who wish it was over, but I think it's still like 12 scoring rounds. So there's 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of time to make up. For someone who's used all their boosts, which we both have now, hope you got a bit of cash to beat it. But what we're going to do tonight,
I remember one year though, I was struggling big time, and I just buy planned early, and I went on a run of like 10 games straight. I didn't lose, and put myself up in the top 8. Went out straight sets, but it goes to show you can get back up in the top 8.
Well, I'm hoping that the buy rounds help me because I've got plenty of players there. We're actually going to talk about some of them tonight. One of the trade out players, one of your boys, but he is playing in round 13, so I might be keeping it. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk most traded in, most traded out. We're going to talk a bit of Magic Round and what you should be doing with all these hammy injuries. Now, we're not going through team lists. We never really go through team lists anymore, but there is a few interesting ones in team lists that we're just going to – we're not going through them. We're just going to kind of rub across the top.
Let's go through the ins and outs of the teams.
So, important ones is Turbo's out, Cleary's out. They're both out for hammies and they're going for a long time, 7 or 8 weeks. Great news for Queenslanders. Not good news if you have either of those boys in your Supercoach team. An interesting one there is Tolotau Kula is going to fullback for Manly.
Mm-hmm.
I had a look at it because just then it tweaked my interest. He's only 470K, which is really interesting. But the next 3 weeks for Manly are just about as hard as you can get. I believe they play the Broncos this week into Penrith. Is it next week or the week after? No, it goes Bronx, Melbourne. They don't play round 13 and then they play Penrith. So you could bring him in. He's only 470, so he is a cheap fullback that you can slot into your center wings. But just know that he's going up against the Bronx, Melbourne, and then Penrith. He also doesn't help you in round 13. After that, you might want to look at getting him. He plays 15, he plays 16, he plays 19.
Also, very bad news for Garrick owners, do you think? Garrick and centers, you would just rather him push to fullback?
I think definitely people want him at fullback. I think Manly, I can't believe they didn't win again the other night. I think Manly struggle from here. Obviously, they're going to lose probably maybe Olakau'atu to Origin. They're going to lose Gerbo. They're going to be losing DCE, obviously. And I know they don't play 13, but them having them to back up on 14. I don't know what's happened over the last few months, but they've just played horrible football. And now losing Turbo, I think it's a huge loss. So for those people that did bring in Garrick, you beat me last week, but my Karaz one beat you on the weekend. So shove that up, yes. But so that's just the first one. Other important outs, obviously we said Cleary's out. There's no real news on it yet, but there's some chat that Nico Hines will be out again this week. So he has been named at the moment, but I definitely keep a watch on him. That's really important. I think I'll mention again later on. Really important that you keep a watch on that because it is a later game. It's on the Saturday. If you have Cleary and Hines, like I do, and you're maybe not going to trade one of them out, you might be stuck with no halfback if you don't watch that. So make sure you're always checking an hour before the game, seeing who's playing, who's not playing. Other important ones, this one's not too important, but as a team, the Titans are going to struggle this week. They're missing Brimson, they're missing Four, and they've lost Phil Sami, and there might even be another one in there as well. Oh, they lost Harley Smith-Shields. So there is a lot of injuries there to the Titans, which is probably great news for your Knights, boys.
Mate, the Knights looking for 4 in a row, baby. Here we come. I told you the other week, the 10 in a row start now. And
it's been the ugliest 3 wins I've ever seen.
I
back them probably this week again. The big news there, and it happened on the weekend, is Kai Pearce-Paul is on the bench, and he's someone we'll talk about later on. But yeah, definitely an important one there. And we've got some great listeners here and viewers, Dumb and Dumbest. Thank you for that. Big Warriors fan.
Drain
Plumbing. Other important ones is Joey Manu, who a lot of people were looking to bring in or already owning him, is out for the Roosters. We're looking at
Why is he out?
possible HIA. So really late on in that game, he got his head in the wrong position. It looked like he was knocked out literally a couple minutes to go in the game. Can I just say, and this might be as a person who doesn't own Dom Young, and I just hate how easy it was on the weekend. All that centre had to do on the weekend, it was like, I think it was Adam Pompey and whoever the winger was, just stay on your man. The winger just kept biting in on Joseph Manu, and all he did was just go flick pass. So if that hadn't happened, then Dom Young's not getting the 1,000 points that he did get.
But I mean, Joey Manu probably beats the centre one-on-one most times anyway, so it's a hard choice for the winger. But at least you don't look like you've missed the tackle because
exactly you stay out. You sell your man down the river every day of the week. You stay out and you go, well, that's the centre getting beaten, not me turning in. I do think Joey Manu probably being out hurts Dom Young. And they do have a good matchup with the Sharks. We'll talk about it a little bit later on as well. Other important ones, as we said, watch that Nicho Hynes. There's not too much in the Rabbitohs or Cowboys. Alex Johnson's back, but I think the Rabbitohs are almost irrelevant at this point. Otherwise, the big one here as well. So actually, can we go back to the Rabbitohs? Sorry, you didn't touch on. Go ahead.
Jacob Gagai. He's in. He's been named.
Yeah, do you still hold him?
Game. Fucking knows. He's been my fucking day one, bro.
He's played 2 games in 10 weeks.
Mate,
he's someone.
Yeah, that's good, mate.
BE King. The interesting one here, and it's for the Warriors, and I spoke to someone about it on the weekend. Warriors have looked horrible the last probably 5 weeks. Definitely the last 4 or 5. And DWZ, as soon as I brought him in, like a lot of players, has not been doing anything. Sean Johnson keeps picking the wrong option. When he needs to go out the back, he plays short. When he needs to play out the back, when it hits short, he's been going out the back. And it just hasn't been coming off for him. There has been a bit of injuries there. And I think the reason the Warriors are going so bad, and I didn't realize it, but last year, the Warriors killed it, and that's because Sean Johnson was killing it. This year, their first 3 games, Sean Johnson was on song again, and they started really well. Without Johnson, they've looked average. He's not playing this weekend. He copped a bit of a pec injury with a chicken wing last week. What they've done is CNK, Chance Nickel Clockstad, is moved from fullback to 6. And Tane Tuapiki, who I was holding up until a few weeks ago, is back at fullback. I think that definitely hurts CNK owners because he's not going to be getting through as much work. But I'm really hoping the Warriors show up because that first 20 minutes on the weekend was embarrassing. And
I don't think you touched enough on like the loss of Metcalf. That's where their season seems to have really taken a dive. Like they're just so clunky. They, as you're saying, like it looks like they're always overrunning the play and like, oh, it's bad to watch. But
a great point here. We'll just touch on it from the big Sarge Beer 365. So we're all in agreement that the Knights should be kicked out of the comp with this salary cap drama and bring back the Adelaide Rams. Now, Gil, do you have any insight?
I actually wore me Dodgers shirt as a bit of a tip of the hat. You know, Otani had that fucking offsider who was just ripping him off, stealing all his money. Similar sort of thing here. Poor Ponga just let his dad in charge of his finances. His dad doesn't get some free thing he was promised next minute. The club's being ripped upside down. So
you're saying that Ponga's dad's been gambling bulk money, and that's where it's come from. And I think
you wouldn't be so desperate to chase it up if you weren't down the hole.
I'm pretty sure this could be Ponga's dad actually coming back at you here, telling you to get a haircut. That's big GB there. And it's a great point.
Yeah. He just came back from Turkey, got hair plugs actually. So good.
Really? He looks good. It's working for the man. Otherwise, the devastating news for all real super coaches out there and anyone who has any brain when it comes to super coach is the loss of the great. He's not dead, but the loss of Trey Fuller. He came out the weekend, killed it again. Unfortunately, Hamiso is back. I think that helps, obviously, the Dolphins, but Trey's game on the weekend really showed something. So he'll be someone we have to talk about as well because in those most traded in, most traded out, there's a lot of people now that are getting traded out. Obviously, you got your injuries, but people like the Hammer who will be relevant come bye rounds. But do you need players for this week? With all these injuries, with everyone in the NRL doing a hamstring injury this weekend, do you need players and how we sit? So what we're going to do is quickly go through the most traded in and most traded out. Obviously, we've spoken about probably why these players are in the situation they are. and then we'll give a brief rundown as to if you are trading them out, who are you going to? The number 1 and number 2 on the list. So what we'll do, actually, we'll chuck in Sean Johnson. So you got Turbo, 16,000 people trading him out. Cleary, 15,000 people trading him out. And Johnson, 6,000 traded out in there. So Turbo's obviously a bit different, with Johnson and Cleary both being in the same position. What are you thinking? What would you be doing if you had to get rid of your halves? Now, we discussed before the show, you got both of them.
Got both of them, yeah. So I thought SJ, well, obviously I don't read team lists, so I thought SJ, he can carry the torch for me halfbacks this week. Obviously can't do that now, so Cleary's going to be traded just because he's out for longer. You can't hang on to him for that long. So I think Sam Walker's the way to go. Origin, has a high ceiling. I need some points, so I don't know. Yeah, I think Sam Walker. The Atkinson from the Sharks is tempting, but I'll probably spend the money that I should put aside to get Cleary or Hines later on. So probably not the best option for me and my finances. But I think Sammy Walker is the way to go this week. If you both of them, you got to get rid of one. Cleary for Walker.
Yeah, with that, I was going to say he's actually that's pretty much where everyone's going. They're going to Sammy Walker, and it does make sense. The only thing I'll say regarding Sammy Walker is he's 160 or 170. He's going to drop out after this week. So the other week, it's 172 he had against the Dragons. That's dropping out this week. So his break-even's actually quite high. Great player, even better bloke, really good kid. But he can have those low games in it. For example, he's got a 40 against the Broncos the week before. He's got a 40 against Penrith. He had a 12 against Manly. And the 2 games where he actually played pretty well against the Bronx in round 1 over in Vegas, which we were there for, and South in round 3, he only scored 50. So I know people are seeing this high ceiling, and he does have a huge ceiling, but how often that ceiling actually comes around, I'm not too sure. Obviously, the Roosters have really hit their straps the last few weeks, but they do go into the Sharks this week, which is a tough game, followed up by 2 easy ones with Canberra and then North Queensland while they're on the bye round there. Another thing, only a small thing, is he doesn't play round 14. So if you do have him and you're supposed to play him round 14, you just got to hope the other halfback is playing. But yeah, you're making a lot of money if you go straight to Sammy Walker. It makes sense, but are you a little bit? Are you considering waiting a week? Well, you can't because you got no other halfback.
Oh yeah, I got halfback, so I'll have to pull the trigger on a halfback and. And I just think not playing Origin, you'll have coverage through there. The HIAs are a bit of a risk because he can go down very easily. But yeah, there's no one else really screaming out. Other than, I don't know, who else would you go?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm looking at. You got options. One of the options is, and the only thing that scares me about him is he might play Origin, is Matty Burton, 5'8", half. His lowest score this year, he's got 2 low scores. In round 1, he scored 15, which is horrible. Round 3, he scored 35. Otherwise, it's been 50, 67, 147, 79, 80, 73, 80. So he is getting through a fair bit of work. He plays Canberra into St. George, into Newey, into Para, into Roosters. So he actually plays 2 of the major bye rounds there, and he's got a pretty nice run over the next few weeks. The only difference is he's 762,000 compared to Sammy Walker, so it's 682. So it's about a 100-point difference. But Burton's definitely someone I'd be considering. It's a bit of a different play. He's only owned by what's he got here? Not many. There you go, if any. He's been traded in 5,000 times this week. So some people are seeing interest in him. And the only other one I'd toss up, and this is a very smoky one, is if you want to save the money and spend it elsewhere, because what we've learned this year, I think, is I've run 2 good halfbacks the whole year. And it hasn't really paid off. I don't think any week I've had Hines and Cleary both go together. They've never actually played. Even the 2 good fullbacks, one's usually gone well, the other one hasn't. If you want to save yourself some money, and feel free to tell me to shut up, but Tyron Wishart, so he killed on the weekend. He killed on the weekend. He's been starting half again this week. he plays 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So he only plays one of the major buys, but I wonder if they do rest Munster after an Origin match. Hughes, I think, is supposed to come back next week, but he's just a random smoky there. Again, he's 5'8" halfback, so I could maybe trade him to like a Cleary this week, and then just move him up to that backup 6 spot at some point and bring in another half next week, maybe when Sammy Walker drops some more cash. And as Sarge said there, Wishart would be great if Hughes is out for multiple weeks, but I think Hughes is only supposed to be out for another week or two. I think he might be even back next week, but it's just another one. But otherwise, yeah, I think we're running low on halves after those ones. Yeah. Sammy Walker, Burton, and then it's kind of daylights. No interest in Jackson.
Oh, no, Jacko doesn't do too much, unfortunately. But even on Wishart, he just doesn't pass the eye test for me. The amount of times like he just takes the ball himself, it's like, pass it, dude, do the halfback. Like, if you get out to the back line, they're probably scoring more tries, but that's probably why he scored so well, because you just hold it smart.
Yeah, I think so. He's played 80 minutes twice this year for an 84 and an 85. He's played 46 minutes for a 56. And then every other game he's played, he played 41 minutes there. But every other game he's pretty much played 20 or 10 minutes, like 10, 13, stuff like that. So when he gets the minute, he can do a little bit. But, yeah, it is a big balls play. It's a big risk. And you'd have to play him against your Knights in a couple of weeks as well. The other main ones there we were talking about, and we not so much talking halves, although a lot of people have traded him out and got him in. And I'll chuck these few together. Trey Fuller, obviously. Some people are still trading out Ryan Pappenhausen, but the big one there is Turbo. Turbo gone for 7 or 8 weeks. Unfortunately, it's his hammy again. They've said originally, I think it was his left hammy. He did that 3 times. Now it's his right hammy. He's actually done his right hammy now 3 times, something crazy like that. So he's out until around 2021. So what are you doing at fullback if you need to get rid of Turbo, if you need to get rid of Pappenhausen still, or you need to get rid of Trey Fuller?
Jeez. We were spoiled a couple of weeks ago now. It's like, who are you getting?
Who's left, exactly?
Yeah. It all just depends on the makeup of your team. I mean, David Armstrong's still there. He's still got juice to milk there. But if you go on, I mean, Reece Walsh he plays Origin, so you're losing for that. Dylan Edwards is another one, super expensive, but will he play Origin? Probably
that's the thing.
What's he worth? 920. I've got Walsh and Nickel Clockstack as my fullbacks, which I mean, most other weeks pretty poor, but this week's not looking too bad, to be honest. So
yeah, it'll just be interesting with CNK obviously playing.
But that hurts. But
yeah, that's the thing. Again, if you have one decent fullback still, you can just hang on and you can wait a little bit with Turbo. There's a lot of money on the bench.
Trell Mitt won't play Origin. Came back, didn't score too badly on the weekend. What did he get, 70 odd? Yeah, big Bergie. I know Bergie was talking to me at cricket and he was telling me he got Trell Mitt last week. So he had the big kahunas. Good on you, Bergie.
Trell Mitt's an interesting one because if you actually watch the game, he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
he scored 2 tries. He set up a try. So there's 46 points. You add in there his line assist. So he's 50 points. So he actually scored only like 15 points in having a run and having a go. But
never does that. But yeah.
He's playing the Cowboys this week, who on the weekend were shocking. So I could see him, again, scoring pretty easily. He's still priced somewhat high. So he's still 700,000. He helps you with the buy period after round 13. But he's definitely a quality there. I think you hit the nail on the head, though. You got to decide if Tedesco or Edwards are going to play New South Wales. And I think after the weekend, probably it's going to go to Teddy, although people have been saying the whole time, Madge is going to come out with this new team. He's putting his mark on it. So who knows what he's going to do. If I had the cash, and we've seen what Dylan Edwards can do without Cleary, I think he's definitely the play. He'll be kicking goals. His worst score over the last 6 weeks is 75. That includes 300s and a couple 90s. So if you have the money there by selling Cleary, by selling Turbo, and you can get Dylan Edwards in, I think that's a great play. or you wait on him for 2 weeks. He plays New Zealand and then the Sharks, and then you could pick him up in round 13 when you know he's definitely not playing Origin, and you can get him for against St. George. So that's something you need to weigh up. If you are holding, say, your Turbo, you got to hold him for 2 weeks, though, with all that money on the bench, just to wait and see if you want to get Dylan Edwards in. But what I can say is I can't imagine Edwards is going to make any more money in those 2 weeks. This is probably as high as he's going to get. Maybe get him a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I think what's his BE is still...
He's quite
high. He's been nailing them, so good chance he gets it again, especially against the weekend Warriors. The other options really are what? What we say,
Brimson's out.
Drinkwater. Drinkwater could be a bit of an option. But I mean, the Hammer's got a really high B and he plays Origin, so you probably could rule him out. But I think he's a bit of a watch list Hammer. See what price he drops to, because it'll take a few weeks to get going. But yeah, if I had to trade somebody in and I had Pappy and Turbo, I would go Troll Mitt. I reckon.
Yeah. I think he's definitely a bit of a pod play, and he can definitely, like, when he turns on, he's sweet. I really hope that Jai Gray didn't get injured. I wanted to see if the Rabbitohs did move Trell Mitt, but we'll see. Hopefully the Rabbitohs start playing a bit better. Random question here. Thoughts on Sharks to win the minor premiership from Drain there?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, they'll probably win the minor premiership out in straight sets, but yeah, I can see the Sharkies winning the minor premiership.
After seeing them on the weekend, I thought they couldn't beat any decent teams on the weekend. They didn't have Hines. They beat the Sharks. They beat the Storm. It was pretty impressive. We'll see how they do again this week against the Roosters. I think that's definitely the game of the round. Pretty keen to see it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We're going to look at some most traded in, because this will explain what everyone's doing and what the plan is. So most traded in at the moment, we've got Sammy Walker, who we've discussed. We've got Matt Burton, who we also discussed. Scotty Drinkwater, Dylan Edwards, Reece Walsh. So we all know those ones. There's a few others that people are bringing in, and this explains why the following players are on the most traded out. We've got RTS. I think everyone's given up on the Warriors. RTS is on the most traded out. James Schiller's on the most traded out. Ethan Strange is on the most traded out. So a couple CTWs, and these are the boys they're bringing in. What I need you to do is tell me, out of these three players, who are you bringing in first? Dom Young got a break even. We saw he did 160 on the weekend. He's got a break even of negative 31 again. If you brought him in last week, you're a genius, because you already made, I think, about 130,000 on him in the 1 week play.
Fuck.
Yeah, 134,000 last week. If he scores 69 this week, he makes another 83,000. And then if he scores another 60 the following week, he's up to 810,000 in a couple of weeks. So he's got a break even negative 31.
The best on Young is he's still only made 44K from his starting price. So it's not like you've missed out on, he did go a lot cheaper, but I mean, you're picking him up still at not a bad price, really, Dom Young, even if you missed him last week. So
no.
Yep.
So
he's
Dom
first.
Young,
he's leading so far. Yep.
Blaze Talangi. So he's at 319,000. I held him the whole time because I'm a genius.
Yeah,
same. So I just had no one to trade him to. He actually looked really good on the weekend. He scored 93 at fullback. He's going to lock down that fullback spot for a couple more weeks. He could have scored way more because he dropped multiple balls. One time he just had to throw the pass, and I think he could have ran himself. He dropped multiple things, but didn't get there. He plays Melbourne this week, which is obviously a tough game.
Is he a fullback? Like normally, is he a fullback? They were
saying that's his best position.
Yeah, he played a lot better there. But no, he looks good. So, I mean, he had 40K last week, but it's not the biggest thing. So
he's 319. He's got a break even at -5 this week, and he's going to be in the team for a few. Well, Gutherson's not back for a few more weeks still.
Okay.
I think he's looking at still a month.
Yeah.
So
depending on where your money sits. If you need someone cheap, Blaze. If you've got the money, Dom Young, I think. But
so say he gets 2 more weeks. They play Melbourne, then Souths. Then on that round 13, maybe Gutherson's back then. If not, he'd play in the So it's not the easiest run, but at the same time, he showed a lot of good form on the weekend, and that's against the Broncos team. Last one, and I'm not a huge fan, but I know you are, David Armstrong.
Oh, buddy. He didn't have his strongest Well, he's had one shit game, but that was in the pouring down rain. So when he got a 20 odd, but I think he's not bad. Still fairly cheap. Missed out on 94K on him, but I think out of those three that you've mentioned, I think he's the third ranking one, really.
Yeah, I think maybe some people already still have Blaze Talangi. I think the big debate is, do you bring him in? Do you not bring him in?
I think, if you're top and you got to bring one of those two cheaper ones in, I think Blaze is probably the pick.
I think so as well. There's only 20,000 difference between the two of them, but Blaze has one of his bad scores dropping out this week. So he's got his. Well, he's actually got multiple bad scores, but he's dropping out his 30 this week. And if he plays again the following week, which he should, he'll drop out of 12. So he should actually make some serious cash. He's looking at probably making 100,000 over the next 2 weeks, whereas Davey Armstrong's had that bad 25 last week. So it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
What I need to know now, and I think we'll touch on it because it's what's playing on my head. What's the go with Dom Young? Do you bring Dom Young in this week? If you can, has the ship sailed or was last weekend? And I know he's had another big score, just not going to happen again. Obviously, it hurts without having Joseph Manu there. But after this week, where he plays a tough team, he then has multiple easy games. If you wait a week, it's going to cost you money. What's your thoughts?
Get him this week, I would say. I still think he's just one of those players that just can score. Even if his team's going shit, they might lose 26-10. He scored one of the tries. And the Sharks, I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats of what their was scored against them. They're a bit better defensively, obviously, than the Warriors, but I mean, last 3 weeks are 160, 84, 88. The negative 15 obviously looks shit, but yeah, get him in. Negative 30 break even. I reckon he goes at least 80 this week.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at his stats now. So this year, he's had 2 games where he didn't score. One was the negative 15. Another one was a 30 he got against Penrith. He played Manly round 2, and he scored a try, but he only scored 50. But otherwise, he's scored every week. He's been getting 80s. He scored the double, obviously, on the weekend, set up a try then. He's got 160. He also has 150. So he can do that. And after watching, or not watching, but listening on the weekend, it's so hard not owning him, just watching him go off. I think probably this week you bring him in. I think he probably only scores 50 against the Sharks. If he does score 50, he's still going to make 60K this week. That's the crazy thing. So he's going to make $60,000. Then all of a sudden next week you're paying $740 for him before he goes on this nice run where he gets the Raiders and then gets Cowboys over on round 13. He also plays round 16.
And it showed, last week just showed you can't wait on be all right, well, in 2 weeks I'm going to get rid of this bloke, because within that 2 weeks you could have 5 players injured and you really fucked your team. So I think sometimes if you can get on that player, get on them while they're cheap.
100%.
Buy low, sell high.
Now, I'm extremely happy. I got one more night of work before Thursday. Got lucky enough to go to the Legends Lunch at the Regatta. Got a couple tickets there, so I'm going to see
Matt
Alfie
invite, bro.
Next time. Alfie, Billy Moore, Gordon Tallis, Big Dell, hanging out with Dobbo, hanging out with the whole crew. Hopefully winning tickets to all 3 days of Magic Round. If I don't get it,
a bit like Dobbo, actually.
Thank you. I love me some Ben Dobbins, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
A couple of Ipswich lads. If we don't get it, though, myself and you are going to be there on this Saturday at the Caxton nice and early before seeing your boys, the Knights, play my boys, the Titans. Followed by probably the match of the round, as we said, Sharks, Roosters, and then probably the worst game of the round, Cowboys, Rabbitohs. If you are or know anyone going to either Caxton that day or going to the Magic Round on Saturday, let us know. I'll be wearing my Gold or South Queensland Crushers jersey. I'm assuming you're going to be in a Knights jersey?
Mate, it's just which one do I wear? That's the hard truth.
Mate, bring out the red panty one. Bring out the nice one. If you do see us there, if you want to reach out.
I've got the pink and blue one, the Women in League one. I don't mind that one. Might rock the pink and blue.
I reckon have a couple of outfit changes. Go full Taylor.
I could actually, because when they start losing, I change it. I'm like, oh no, I'll go with the other team.
Mate, if they lose the Titans, they're struggling. But if you are going, make sure you reach out. I can confirm myself or Gil will shout you a beer. It'll be an alcohol-free one.
No, you can shout me one.
I'll shout you one if you see me there. But make sure if you are coming, let us know. We'll have a little catch-up. Caxton Street is going to be buzz. There's obviously a huge thing going on at the Caxton that afternoon, the Reg Reagan thing from Fletch and Hindy. So you'll see us in the background trying to sneak our way in anyway. But it is a huge weekend, and we're very keen to see it. If your team sucks, just watch the footy, and you can forget about everything else. What we're going to talk about now is trades. So what are you looking to do this week with what you currently have? Obviously, you have no halfback, so that's one of your trades.
No halfback. Nathan Cleary. In for one, out for one, and then he's gone. So I think he's been in and out of my side that many times already, Nathan Cleary. But fuck you, you cunt. You're not staying in there. So trade Nathan Cleary. Sam Walker's looking like the option at the moment. And for my other trade, I'm looking at Taylor May. You fucked it, buddy. You're gone. Got a 70 odd the week before, back to 35. And so I'm looking at flicking him and picking up Dom Young, which is boring. Just get Walker and Young, but I need them. I need them, bro.
Yeah.
So, but other options there instead of Young. Yeah, I mean, I looked at Joey Manu, but then I seen he had a red dot, so obviously Joey Manu. There's some cheaper options, I suppose. But yeah, no, I think Dominic Young, after getting a 160 and just the way he scores his tries, like he can just run around people. Like when you watch junior foot, this one big kid who just runs around, he does that to him. Like he's built like a tree, and he just fucking Dom Young, get him in.
He made the break on the weekend when he just ran over like 3 players. Like they had him, and it was Freddie Lussick was the third one that kind of just let him go. But he just made a break and going, this is fucking ridiculous. I've got a couple options. These two, after just looking at my team, I want to know what your thoughts are because I think a fair few other people are going to be in the same boat. I've got DWZ, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and I've also got Kai Pearce-Paul. Now, DWZ, I know a lot of people have already traded out. He has been doing nothing in the last few weeks. He hasn't scored a try. He had 2 that he probably should have scored. One he definitely should have scored when he was tackled in the air against Knights, but he didn't score a try there, and he scored 25. On the weekend, he should have scored a try, but he just lost the ball over the line. So he's gone 25-23. He's at $535,000. He's lost $184,000. I think that's all I've lost. He plays Penrith this week, which is horrible, and he goes in the Dolphins, and he's got a couple of decent games in there. What would you do if you got DWZ? Do you sell him and he's worth $535,000 and go to someone, or at this point do you just go, screw it, I've lost all this money on it, I'm just going to hold him on my bench. If they find some form, I'll use him on good matchups and closer towards the end of the year.
I would, depending what other fucking trades you need to make, but I think he's a trade, to be honest. He I don't know what happened to their backline movement. Was so sick. That's where Tuivasa-Sheck went, right? He came in and he went to that side. Or did he get
No, he's on the other side, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't even blame him for it. Well, I don't think DWC is going to see the ball if Nickel Clock has 6. I've never seen him pass, so
he's the normally worst.
So
literally, he never gives the ball out there.
I don't mind this little suggestion here from Stephen Fattore. Greg the Keg, mate, looked good on the weekend. He actually started busting some tackles, so that's actually not a little bad smoky one, but obviously when the Knights had Dom Young and Marzu on the wings last year, who did you pick? And now it's again, who do you pick for your super team? I think Dom Young, but
Greg Marzu's 515,000.
Don't mind.
He's gone 57, 87 in the last 2 weeks. He didn't score on a try in that 57. He had 22 in tackle breaks. Holy hell. And then on the weekend, he scored an 87 because he actually scored a try. They go Gold Coast, then they have the bye, and they play the Dogs, and then they play Melbourne Independent. So a couple of tougher games there.
Yeah. And that bye fucking is annoying too. If there's no bye and another shitter team, you probably consider him, but hurts that he gets an easy game than a bye. Yeah.
And he plays 13, but then he doesn't play 16. It's definitely a play, but yeah, it is very cheap. It's another one you could kind of stash. I've got DWZ at the moment. I'm thinking I'm just going to leave him, play him when I can. I think he finds some form. I can't see him going much lower than 500 or get back to 500 at least if he does.
I don't mind the move of DWZ to Matt Timokol from the Raiders. He has been quietly sneaking under the radar. Gets a couple of 40s here and there, but can push out a bigger score.
Yeah, well, the Raiders, I'd completely given up on the Raiders. But then obviously they had that great win where they came back and beat Manly the other week. I don't think they can keep doing that. Who knows? KO Weeks as your halfback. And my boy Ethan Strange, who I still have as your six, isn't great. They do get Jordan Rapana back this week, which helps. But Timoko,
is he back this week?
Yeah, he's gone back. So Chevy Stewart's out for him. Again, they've got a really nice bye coverage. They play 13, they play 16. But yeah, it's definitely a look. I've already burnt through so many trades. I don't think I can waste another one on someone who I still think is a quality footballer. He doesn't seem interested at the moment, DWZ. So maybe a little bit of time on the pine, he'll change his mind around. The other one, before I get to my trades, which very highly owned, what are you going to do with, and I know what you're going to do, but a lot of people are trading out Kai Pearce-Paul. He got benched on the weekend. So he came on literally at halftime. He played 40 minutes.
He did.
For 41 points.
I think Newcastle's game plan at the moment is just very gritty up the middle. Don't make mistakes. So Lucas and Frizzell are probably better second rows to have in that case. But Pearce-Paul, a few times he stuck his nose through. I think he may have had a line break or a line break assist. But yeah, the minutes hurt. But what's his BE? 79. He's not going to lose a heap of cash if he puts out another like 45, 50. I think he's old. Especially with Frizzell and Lucas have both got injury history this season, so I'd be holding Pearce-Paul.
Vittoria's gone Rapana, another smoky too. Yeah, that's definitely a different look there. I looked at Kai Pearce-Paul and I'm going, yeah, I can understand why people are selling him. The fact they actually have a bye next week, I think, helps him because it means if he does go bad this week, he's not going to lose cash next week because obviously they've got a bye and it gives you more time to work out what you're going to do. But the big thing is he plays round 13. So it's just another number there. He plays the Dogs. I think against the Titans, especially with the weakened Titans, he could do pretty well if he gets significant minutes. So I definitely don't think he's a sell yet, unless there's someone you need to go to, which I don't think there is. I think he's okay at the moment. Before I get into my trades, any thoughts on this one? You thinking about bringing in this bloke this week?
Oh, deep into the loin. Probably not going to bring Michael Innes in, actually. He was never really a Supercoach relevant player, to be honest, Mick Innes.
To be honest, I could trade Api Coruscant for him right now and not bat two eyelids because I'm so over him. But anyway, Coruscant, another one that I need to trade, but he just needs to hang on now till Origin. I'm assuming he gets named, then I can find some cash and flick him. My trades, and this is at the moment after just having a look, and it's pretty entertaining. I can trade Nathan Cleary and Trey Fuller out, and I can bring in Burton and Dylan Edwards. So that's two what I see as really high-scoring players out. It leaves me with not much cash, but it is interesting. I don't mind it. My other play will actually be fixing up some of my other problems because I've got plenty of them, like a DWZ or an Api Coruscant, keeping either Trey Fuller or probably keeping Cleary there on the bench. And then deciding next week which half I want to bring in. Maybe then Burton's dropped a bit of cash or Sammy Walker's dropped a bit of cash. I've seen who I like more. I'll bring them in. The only worry there, and it's something that, as I said earlier in the show, every super coach needs to be aware that the chat is Nico Hines is not going to play this week. If Nico Hines does not play, that means all of a sudden I don't have a half and I'll be copping an AE, which I really don't want to do. So the Dogs play... When do they play? They must play Sunday. Oh, no, they
play
Friday.
Round. Yeah, Friday. Yeah,
first game. That's ugly. Yeah, first game of the round. So it's not as if I can really wait on that one because if I want to bring Burton in, I'd need to trade Cleary out for him. My other option is I could trade. I got time because the Roosters play when they do. I'd know an hour beforehand if Hines is going to play, and then I could always go Cleary to whoever there. I go Cleary straight to Sammy Walker, but it really limits me then to if I want Burton, I have to pull the trigger before I know if Hines is going to play.
After just having a closer look, I don't think I'm going to trade Taylor May. Looking at the Warriors side, I think he's probably worth a gamble playing in that Penrith team. So Taylor May will survive another week for me, I think. I don't know. I don't know who to trade. Another trade, to be honest now. Might save one to you.
Mate, you're going that bad, I wouldn't.
Mate, I had green arrows on the weekend, so...
Yeah, because you were coming at 135,000.
34,000 ranking, weekly ranking. Jumped up 4,694 spots, bro. So...
Hey, mate, green arrows only.
Averaging over 1,000 now, so big things to come.
I think the highlight of my weekend was my great front row forward pack. Corey Jensen, 48. David Wiley, 52. Terrell May, 58. Semi Hughes, 39. Semi Hughes let me down a little bit, but, mate, for a forward pack that absolutely sucks, that's really good scores.
Oh, for everyone else has been struggling in the front row, Bellin and Fanua Blake have just probably been taking 20% of my weekly score each week, and then the rest of the guns are doing nothing.
There's not much going on. Oh, my God.
Oh, actually, even Marshall King, I have to throw Marshall King in. My top 3 are literally taking a quarter of my score each week, and then the other fucking 14 of the fuckers are doing nothing. So.
Yeah, I think Marshall King's been a great buy that you had. I do think probably 70% of super coaches jump on him before round 13 or coming into round 13. Yeah. Another thing, obviously there's going to be some dual positions coming in next week. Important ones. Dylan Brown should be getting the 7.
So what do you confirm? 6? Is it 6 games?
No, they only have to have played 3 games in that position, but it happens every 6 weeks. So it's like round 6, round 12.
So Blaze Salangi could be a little wait once he gets that fullback dual position.
Yeah. Well, no, he's already got. Oh, what will he get? How many games does he play for it? He's got just CTW at the moment.
Yeah.
He'll get fullback, but he won't get that till like 18. I also need to confirm whether that one comes in before round 12 or after round 12. So if it was after round 12, he'd get it, but I think it might be before. But yeah, obviously it's another huge week. I need to get some W's in all my competition. I need to see some green arrows. But the thing that we need to cover now before we get on to the questions, and the questions, I've read some of them, not so much Supercoach related, but they are very important questions, is who we captain this week. Now, if I bring in Dill Edwards, I think he's pretty hard to go past as a captain.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at?
I'm just thinking about most consistent player over the last few weeks, Gus Bus. I'm going to whack it on him. I think even in a tougher game against the Sharks, he's just looking unbelievable. He's not going to score tries each week, but he still makes breaks. And Gus Bus for me. I don't have much else to pick from, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that though. But then, who would your VC be?
So I was going to VC. I was thinking for Feeder. I know it's the match before, but it's the 2.5 hour break, so you have enough time to see. It's not like the kickoff straight away. So I'm thinking maybe Reece or Reece Walsh against Manly on Friday night. Yeah,
Reece Walsh against a weakened Manly side is a definite look in. I'm just trying to sort out my team here. Do I play DWZ against the Penrith Panthers? I doubt it.
No.
But yeah, I don't hate that one at all. I think if I do end up bringing in Dylan Edwards, I need to chuck the C on him. And it's at a decent time. It's the first game on Sunday. 50. That should be perfect conditions out there at Suncorp against the Warriors. If it's like anything like last week, he could go massive. And if I do that, classic. I'd be looking at maybe. The bastard plays late. He didn't do it for me last week, but Asako against the Tigers is not a bad shout, but it's the last game of the round, so I can't do that one, unfortunately. Maybe Matty Burton. If I do bring in Burton, he's VC. That gets it like first game of the round, gives me plenty of time to do it. And as good as Canberra Raiders have been, and I know they're just coming for a bye, the Bulldogs have been pretty good. If Burton can go out there and really turn it on, otherwise I really don't have too many options because I'm trusting in the Lord that Nicho Hynes probably doesn't play. So if that is the case, then I'll need to find someone else to obviously play. Other than that, let's get on to some questions and wrap this bad boy up under an hour.
Smart. Let's do it.
Can you read the questions, or would you like me to? As I know that you're not great with your readings.
I mean, if they just fucking wrote fucking easier words to read, it'd be a lot easier for me.
Yeah, they'll get there.
Oh, they're fucking idiots. All right, let's have a look here. Let's have a look. Alrighty.
I did like your photo. Great movie.
I was trying to find the actual clip, but it was taking me too long to piece it together. So screenshot it was. All right. Adam Sargent. Fucking, he's a keen viewer. This fella. It reminds me of have you watched that show Baby Reindeer on Netflix?
No, I haven't yet. Is it good?
Sarge would be like that. The chick from it, I reckon.
I just feel it seems a bit too scary for my liking. Not really. Don't do the scariness, you know.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary, I suppose. If you.
Yeah, well, there you go. A little bit scary is too scary for me.
All right, well, Adam Sargent reckons. So he managed to avoid hamstring gate with only Cleary going down. Is it worth holding him 1 week and then making the call on Dylan Brown, in brackets, New Jewel, or Sam Walker, in brackets, Sharky's good defense this week?
Yeah. And I think we touched on that. I think it's definitely, you can definitely wait on it if you have other trades you need to make, or you just simply don't need to play. The only thing you need to watch out for, as we keep saying, if Nico Hines is a late withdrawal, which I'm sure he will be, then all of a sudden you're up ship creek without a paddle. So I don't hate the waiting because, again, Burton could drop. It gives you plenty of time to see what happens. Or maybe it just means that you miss out on someone else getting injured because one of these guys dropped down this week. Touchwood, they do not.
Yeah, I think get Sam Walker this week. He's got another question. This is why it reminds me of Baby Reindeer. He just keeps pumping them at you. Also, Kai Pearce-Paul out and Elise Katoa in as my only trade this week. Mate, you come back to regret that, matey. The fucking gospel. He ain't over yet. But Katoa, he looks good each week. Actually, he's been Melbourne's probably shining light, Supercoach wise. And another one from Adam Sargent.
Oh, this guy. The only thing with Katoa, doesn't play 13. And KPP does, so just double check your how many people you got for round 13 because this is important.
I think KPP's a hold. I think Newcastle will work out how to use him. Another one for Sargent. Looking at you boys, I think he meant to say who you enjoy a steak or two. Well, yeah, looking at them they do. What's your go-to cut and which sauce on the side?
My go-to cut's rump because I'm cheap, but I'm assuming it's I fillet or sirloin or something like that. I should be doing
Wagyu, some Japanese Wagyu.
Yeah. And then the sauce, I saw that Fatore said the chimichurri, which is good. If I'm just a normal pub and going dine-in all day, might get the Bernays, as well. I'm going to Bakehouse Steakhouse this Thursday night. Gil might come down. Everyone's invited. Bakehouse Steakhouse, 6:30. We won't shat your steaks, though.
Well, how do you have it? Medium rare? Is that the only way to have it?
I'm actually a medium well person again. I know. I've changed it to medium. It was always medium well because I like the gristle. I like a little bit of chewiness. Over in France while I was there, actually, they're blue. It was literally just
blue straight on the plate.
You only can get it blue, and if you want it well done, you got to say it's bien cuit. That means well done. And you get it like rare. If you say well done, it's like rare. Otherwise, it's boom, one side each. It's just raw. It's beef tartare, they call it. Just fucking uncooked.
How was it? Was it nice?
It was okay. It was okay. But, yeah, definitely medium well. I've changed it up now, but because everyone told me I'm a dickhead. Anyone who can actually cook a steak has told me I'm a dickhead. And that's another I'm saying that medium well is fucking ridiculous. Probably fair there. Stephen Fatore with another question here, or with his only question for the night, is dream car. What's your dream car?
Fuck, I'm not a car person at all, honestly. I don't even know. When I played Need for Speed Underground, I used to like doing up the Toyota Supras, but got over that. Got over that when I wasn't a child. What would I go?
Nissan Tita.
Well, I don't mind them, especially when you're make sure you lock. If you're coming out of the passenger door, make sure you lock it because it doesn't work.
And Nissan Tita gets a run from me. I don't mind a Tesla. I'll get a Tesla.
Teslas are cool, yeah. If a car that can drive itself, I would definitely take it. That's yeah. So whatever those cars are, that's my dream car.
Uber's always good.
Uber, love an Uber. Shout out to them.
Yeah, especially free ones. Anything that means that we don't have to pay money. Yeah, the Teeter is definitely my one. Gold-plated Teeter. If you see me rocking around anywhere in the southeast Queensland, give me a yell. I'll race you for pink slips. But otherwise, Gil, unless you got much more stuff.
What handles better, you reckon? The Teeter or the fire truck?
The Teeter. The Teeter makes more noise, which is not a good thing. I really need to get checked out because it's making more noise than the truck.
It actually leaks more water too than the truck. So
yeah, it's not doing well. It's not we're not doing the War Room aircon fund anymore. It's the War Room get me a new car fund.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll have another relative. You'll have another relative that'll pass away soon enough.
Mate, we're starting to run low. So, for starters, I need one of them to buy a good car before they die. They keep buying these shit boxes and giving it to me. But...
driving them into the ground. Yeah. Well, no, there's one more. There's another question here from Jason Phillips. It's actually Supercoach related. It's a fucking bit of a novella, but I'll try and get through it. The Wars, or maybe I should say the what thars. How does their backline work now? Who plays what side? And how fucked is that cunt of a coach from Newey? 3 blokes Ruben to miss this week, all named and replacements for all on their extended bench. What a fucking cock. I need to bring in CTW, who prefer to play at least round 13 or 14, won't play Origin, doesn't play for the fucked in the Wars. I think we've covered that one. Dom Young.
Yeah, Dom Young's definitely play if you don't have him already.
But
if you do have him, so is he saying the Warriors, their bench, or was he saying the Warriors reserves are all people that could replace him?
I think that was the Knights that they had like Armstrong, Mazu, Best possibly in there.
I know they've been saying that Best could be out. Christian Mapapalangi there, Thomas Cant, Fletcher Sharp. Is Fletcher Sharp the fullback that everyone's been talking about? Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
God, I would love nothing more than Fletcher Sharp becoming the team and David Armstrong drop out. I would love that.
that will happen. Armstrong's been one of my better buys, so I know that'll just turn to shit really quickly. So yeah,
I know people were definitely saying they're like, oh, they got this Fletcher Sharp, who needs to come back in. Obviously, maybe he does come back in from an injury, and David Armstrong gets dropped. But David Armstrong has been bad, so it'll be interesting.
No, he's pretty good. So.
They were worried about Bradman Best, so I'm assuming if Best is out, Christian Mapapalangi comes in for him. So again, that's a wait and see on that one because that's pretty interesting. Obviously, there's a few players that could be late outs because they're getting named, and that's I understand why it happens because you have to name your team on Tuesday and you don't know what the go is, and also it doesn't really affect the NRL teams. It's the same in the Queensland Cup. It doesn't affect your team if you go just put out the same team list. You used to put out a team list, and you'll see it now in the Queensland Cup. They're putting out team lists where players are getting named in the NRL as well. I'm like, he's not playing for Brisbane Tigers this week because he's playing for Melbourne. But because it doesn't matter, they just chuck out these team lists. Yeah. So you can't go off everything you see here. Really important to check a couple of days beforehand or an hour beforehand as well.
When you watch the old classic games from even just like early 2000s, like the lineup of the team is have like the hooker playing in the centers, and it's just like the jersey numbers are all over the shop. They must be like, fuck it, just name this side and we'll decide on the day.
Yeah, and then just go stand wherever you want on the field anyway.
Literally, I did that when I played footy, and it was mostly to the side.
Yeah, you were off the field. People were like, why do you have 12 players on the field? And you were standing on the bench the whole time.
I was one of the only frontline defenders that defended in the back line. So that was pretty
we just had a late question there for Jock Madden. He's been named back this week. I personally thought Josh Rogers, who played last week for the Bronx, didn't do much. All he did was really kick the ball. Jock Madden is a sneaky option. He's just under 500K. Back-to-back 70-point games, his last 2 games, although one of them he did score 2 tries in. He's obviously got that position for lockdown for a long time now. He goes Manly into the Titans. He doesn't play 13. He doesn't play 16. So he doesn't help you out with those those weeks. His best 2 scorer are the last 2 weeks, so he's got a break even as 0. He's a definite look-in. I probably wouldn't go there for 500K, but because he's kind of that mid person. You don't know whether you're going up. You don't know whether you're going down.
Yeah.
You don't know whether you're going to play him. But, yeah, as a diehard Broncos fan, I can definitely see people going him.
I was talking to Jimbo earlier today, actually, and he was real keen. He was keen to – he was spitting chips that he traded out Drew Clutchinson so early. This is the perfect time for Clutcho just to come in with his dual position halfback, take
his
a hold
30
of spot
points a
for you.
game.
Bro,
There you
hold
go.
the
We
spot
just
for
had
you.
Jason Phillips as well saying that Frizzell and Gags also in
Possibly.
trouble. So Frizzell goes perfect because it means that Kai Pearce-Paul moves up,
Bang.
and then they're going to bring in Jed Cairo to the bench. I'll tell you what, this could be one of the all-time stinkers of the game if we lose Gago, if we lose Frizzell, if anyone else from Bradman Best doesn't play, then it's like a Queensland Cup team versus a New South Wales Cup team to kick off the Saturday. But I'll tell you what, we're going to be out there in full force, cheering on our two teams.
Newcastle have a perfect record at Magic Round, so do with that what you will, mate.
I'm surprised the Knights don't get left out every year because no one likes them.
Bruh, mate, I've seen them. We had the early Friday game the year before. They reckon, had the worst fucking fan involvement. It's like you gave the shit a time slot, and they're like, you get the bye next year. It was shit Magic Round last year. It was just missing something, and then
missing a horrible team.
It was missing something,
mate. I'm telling you right now. I traded Beau Fermor last week. Fuck, that sucked. This weekend. I think he scored like 70, but he was on like 40 after a couple minutes, but then he got moved to centers to cover people, which is the only problem with him. Same with Burbo. I got Burbo still. He did really well, but I hate those back rows that get moved to centers to cover for injuries because it just hurts their game. But this weekend, it's David Fifita versus Kai Pearce-Paul for biggest, baddest brother in the back row. What time is it? 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock? 3 o'clock Saturday,
3 o'clock.
Milton End.
Mate,
Suncorp Stadium. And this is our last thing. That's what we're going to leave you on. And we'll get a video out to it. If the Knights win this weekend, this poor old drunk here is going to eat my undies. I'll make sure that's the ones I wear on Saturday.
At least your undies, they might not taste like it. They smell like it and they definitely look like Swiss cheese, but they may not taste like it. So.
I was going to say there's plenty of holes in them. Plenty of holes in them. But otherwise, if you're not coming this weekend, we won't see you. If you are coming, make sure you send us a message. If you know people coming, drop the war room.
Do some street talk. So if you want to get involved, get your ugly mug up next to mine, or Sag might do a bit of street talk.
Nah, people would want to hit me. You're too small. They don't.
I've gone with that game plan. Yeah, so it's worked so far. But
yeah, and it's working out so far. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, someone hits you this weekend. I'm assuming we won't be doing that until later in the day once people are a bit full.
Yeah, me included.
If you have any questions that you want Gil to ask the fans out there, send them through as well. We'll make sure that he goes up to them.
And I think that if I'm going to get hit by somebody, it's probably going to be you. So
I hope you enjoyed. We stretched it out. But Magic Round 2024 this weekend, we will be there. We're going to be probably making trades on the spot. And hopefully Kai Pearce-Paul gets one over his enemy in Dave Fifita.
He will.
One love. Love to Gary Bertier. We'll see you next week when I've scored 1,400 points.
Woo!